3,000 nerve receptors in our fingertips allow us to feel every touch. Through our tires, we can also feel the road. Dunlop, proud sponsors of the BTCC.
Look at them, side by side.
A little bit wide. Fantastic. Giovanardi didn't even have a race license earlier this week. Maurizio Giovanardi wins race 1 here at Truxton. All eyes on Plato versus Matt Neal. And that's Plato running wide. Matt Neal then. What a great return this is to the family team. Coming through to make it a Honda Racing 1-2 is Gordon Shen. Matt Neal from pole position, but a great start from Jason Plato. Is this going to be the first win for the Chevy Cruze? Jason Plato does take the first win for the Chevy Cruze. It's going to be 3 abreast into turn 1. It's another double champion who comes through to take 2 wins here at Rockingham today. Quite a challenge to see anything, let alone stay on the tarmac. The blue oval returns to the winner's circle for the first time in 10 years. Chilton wins in the Ford. Great start by Gordon Shedden. Shedden slopped it on the restart. He's kept his footing, he's recovered. Beautiful save.
Tom Chilton was ruled out of the results, disqualified for a ride height infringement.
To me, it's a bit strange, so I'm very, very upset, and I'm going to be a man on fire from the back.
Now Jackson's going to lead. He's got it well done. Matt Jackson to take victory here.
So 9 races gone, and those arch rivals Matt Neal and Jason Plato head the championship on 67 points apiece. Neal top by virtue of his 2 wins to Plato's 1. Stephen Kane is third on 59 points, with Paul O'Neill fourth as the championship heads to this, his local track. In the Teams Championship, it's a 2-point lead for Airwaves BMW over Honda, with Silverline Chevrolet 21 points behind those leaders. And in the manufacturers' standings, the Team Dynamics Hondas are leading from Chevrolet and Ford, with today's 3 races to come. And the picturesque Oulton Park circuit in Cheshire is one of the most popular stops on the championship schedule. The fans in the northwest always turn out in force, and like yourselves, they're looking forward to around 6.5 hours of action around this 2.25 mile track, the touring car races and the high quality support races as well. Well, as you can hear from the engines behind me, we're just a few minutes away from the first touring car action of the day. History was made a month ago at Brands Hatch with the first win for the Fords, fueled by liquid petroleum gas. Would they still have the advantage as the championship battle resumed here at Oulton Park? Louise Goodman now reports on yesterday's qualifying.
Andrew Jordan's Pertec Racing Vectra suffered an engine problem in practice and failed to make it out of the garage. There was disappointment too for Tom Chilton. He's taken pole at the last 2 rounds and was fastest throughout practice here at Oulton Park, but couldn't find the time when it mattered. Instead, it was teammate Tom Onslow Cole who stepped up to the plate. The LPG-powered Fords have been fitted with restrictors since Brands Hatch to negate the performance advantage of their turbo engines, but it didn't seem to slow Onslow Cole down. He took his first pole since Thruxton in 2008.
I think we're looking fairly good. Yeah, I'm not sure who's around us yet, but if there's a BMW there, maybe that will complicate the start a little bit. I believe we've got good race pace, so we'll see.
Gordon Shedden starts alongside on the front row, which will help his chances of maintaining his 100% record here at Oulton Park. The Scot has won a race here on each of his last 3 outings.
Chilton's been really quick all day. I thought that was going to be the marker, and then did one of the Fords, and the pesky other one goes and sticks it on the pole. But a great lap by Onslow Cole. I think we'll be in the hunt tomorrow come the race.
Joint championship leader Jason Plato ended the session 3rd and much happier with his car after finding a few tweaks for his Silverline Racing Chevy at the recent test.
Now I'm starting to feel the car and starting to actually really enjoy pushing, whereas before I was a little nervous of what it would do.
The Chevrolet improvement was backed up by teammate Alex McDowell, who joins Plato on the 2nd row with a time that was just 7/100ths off the pole. Chilton had to settle for an unfamiliar 5th place alongside Rob Collard, who was the fastest of the rear-wheel drive BMWs on a 1:27.6. Matt Neal starts from 7th place in his Honda Civic.
Car felt great, just struggling that little bit with the weight. Pulled a half-decent time out of it, but not decent enough.
If Neal was a bit frustrated with the qualifying result, it was nothing compared to the disappointment of his good mate Paul O'Neill. 8th may be his best qualifying result of the season, but the local favourite was ruining what might have been after stopping out on track after just 1 run.
Well, I don't know if we'll race now. It's probably done about 25 grand worth of damage, which is a season. It is basically two weekends of racing, which I didn't have in the budget. So but the team didn't have the budget, so we could be a bit on the back foot here, just dissect what we've got and see what happens. But you know, the car was fantastic, and as always, they give me a good car, but we've got a problem to say with the differential and the gearbox.
Rounding out the top 10, it's Matt Jackson in the second Airwaves BMW and the 888 Racing Vectra of James Nash.
Paul O'Neill was fearing the worst, but it's a new gearbox instead of a new engine that's required. The local favourite will be on the grid, but with no time at all to test that new setup. We'll have all the pre-race opinion from down on the grid when we return in a couple of minutes.
Pole for Team Round04, but as we've already heard, it is Tom Onslow-Cole starting from the front this time, rather than this guy, Tom Chilton, who's been on the pole at the last 2 races. So what happened this time, Tom? This is not the view you're used to seeing lately, is it? Cars in front of you?
Yeah, I got 4 cars in front. Very happy for my teammate, Tom Onslow-Cole. He's done a very good job. Absolutely gutted I didn't get pole again. Obviously the restrict was really hurting us, and we also had a bit of bad luck in qualifying. We ended up going on the scrutineering patch, which you have to do, and ended up, because we run a turbo, have to cool it down before I switch it off or damage it. And I know that you know, the championships run, so it keeps the racing as close as possible, and I think qualifying just showed you it. We're all within hundredths, thousandths and tenths, so it is very close, and it's just like the championship, the points are very close. And I'm going to drive as hard as I possibly can to get on that podium, so I need the points, and I've got no weight on.
OK, listen, have a good one. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with the man who makes those rules, Alan Gow. Oh, here he is, he's over here. Alan Gow is the man who's imposed this restriction on the Team Round04s. It was a very controversial subject at the last race. A lot of the other drivers on the field, this was something they really wanted to see. Is that why you've responded?
Well, certainly not the reason why we responded. If it was because of whinging, it would be the opposite effect on me. No, we look at things on a purely data-driven basis. You know, we have to look at everything that's before us, and when we spoke about it before, it was before the Brands Hatch races. And then at the end of the Brands Hatch races, we again look at all the data and make an evaluation there. You've got to remember, this is ongoing work with new technology for us, and it's work in progress, and we might have to make some more changes as the season progresses, either up or down.
So this is something you're going to be keeping an eye across, then? It could well be more restrictions imposed on the Fords?
It could be, and it could be the other way too. We might have to open it up again. We don't know. We're just working with the team to making sure that the car has performance parity with everyone else.
All right, thanks very much, Alan. Well, Tom is starting this race from 5th place on the grid, and let's see how the rest of the cars line up with Ben Edwards.
Thanks very much, Louise. We're all set for some great racing here at Oulton Park. One of our favourite circuits, Tim. There's no doubt whether you're driving or commentating here, it's a wonderful place.
It's a great track for the drivers and for the spectators. Always a big crowd here, very enthusiastic catchment area here in the northwest. And yeah, as you say, hopefully the weather will stay consistent. We get some great racing.
Well, let's take a look at how they line up then. It is Tom Onslow-Cole. His first pole in the Focus. He's had pole positions before, but not in the LPG car. Gordon Shedden alongside him on the front row. Then Jason Plato in the Chevy had a disastrous time at Brands. Alex McDowell, his teammate, is alongside him. Then it's Tom Chilton. We heard from him. And the top BMW on the grid is that of Rob Collard for Team WSR. Matt Neal, joint championship leader with Jason Plato, finds himself 7th on the grid, carrying the maximum ballast, of course. Paul O'Neill should be next, but he's in the pits. He's got a gearbox problem. Matt Jackson is 9th on the grid. Then it's James Nash in the Vauxhall. Then Stephen Kane, who enjoyed his 30th birthday celebrations here yesterday. And Tom Boardman, who lines up in 12th. 13th place for Lee Wood. That's an outstanding effort in qualifying. Andy Neaton next up in the WSR BMW. Then Dave Pinkney and Matt Hamilton. And then the 2 Forster BMWs of Martin Depper and Arthur Forster. Going further down the back, we've got John George, then it's Sean Hollenby. Starting at the back is the car of Andrew Jordan. They had a last-minute engine change. And next to him on that final row is Martin Johnson. And on his car, Martin Johnson's car, a dedication to his father Cliff, who passed away suddenly last week. Cliff and Martin always went racing together. They established Boulevard Team Racing, which won titles in the Clio Cup, before deciding to join the touring car ranks with the Astra Coupe, and Cliff will be sadly missed by all members of the touring car paddock. In fact, the organisers have announced there will be a one-off trophy for the highest point scorer across all 3 races today, and Martin will make that award after race 3 this afternoon in memory of Cliff, and that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's a lovely thought, and as you say, Cliff will be really sadly missed. He was a big presence, a big man and a great character, and so typical of the type of people that race in touring cars, and he will be sadly missed.
Yeah, but Martin deciding that his father wanted to race, so he's about to set off on this grid. So the cars are on their formation lap, and it is Tom Onslow-Cole then who leads them away in the LPG-powered Ford Focus. Turned 23 years old recently, did Tom Onslow-Cole, and it's his third career pole position, but can he convert it into a victory? But also watch out for the man on the front row with him, Gordon Shedden in the Honda Racing Civic. Now he's got an amazing record here. He's won at least one race every time he's raced a touring car at Oulton Park, and I wonder if he can sustain that record starting up front.
I'm sure he can. I mean, we talked about it in practice, and it's one of those circuits where his rhythm, his lines, his natural driving style just suit this circuit so very well.
Well, Tom Chilton, as we heard, he's starting from 5th place on the grid. Lou was talking to him earlier on. Let's grab a quick word with him. Tom, this is Ben up in the commentary box. Just give us a quick run through on conditions and what you can expect to do starting from 5th place.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, it's nice and dry at the moment. The clouds look like it might rain, but I don't think there's any chance. I'm not bothered if it does rain after Brands Hatch. I think I was the fastest in the wet at Brands, got 2 wins, and here I'm obviously hoping I can get a win. My teammate's on pole, obviously egging him on as well, and I've got at the moment 2 blue cars, which is the Chevrolet in front, and I need to try and catch up to Jason, who's currently leading the championship, so I'm going to try everything I can from where I am.
Great, well have a good race, Tom. We'll be keeping our close eye on him, and interesting that brake situation he had yesterday. One of the things I hadn't really fully appreciated, Tim, is that with the this car, this LPG car, is that they don't get so much engine braking. Before we talk about that, we talk about that in a minute. I think Louise has caught up with Paul O'Neill, who sadly is not going to make the start of this race.
Yeah, Paul standing in the pit lane when he should be in his car driving around this track, so the fix hasn't worked.
No, you know, it's very difficult here because you're not allowed to run your engine till 12 o'clock. You know, so we've ran it up and it was fine. The boys worked double hard to get it together. Just had a go then on the warm-up lap, and it's jumping out of 5th gear, back into 4th. If the engine blows, that's me finished for the year, so we just can't afford any more failures. But, you know, the boys work hard. Let's get on the grid for race 2.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for it. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, a truly gutted Paul O'Neill. You can feel for him. He took his first ever win here back in 2002, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and of course it's a local circuit for him. He has a huge number of supporters who come to this race. Some of them pay to get in, but he's a very popular character, and of course 4th in the championship, so he's going to lose some points in this race.
And joint leader of the Independence Championship too, so it really is going to be very, very painful, and as you say, on home turf it's even worse. So the car's heading up now. BMWs didn't qualify particularly well, Tim. Fastest BMW, Rob Collard, but dry conditions, and the track does suit them, doesn't it?
If the track is very hot, and it'll suit them, because the front-wheel drive cars will wear their front tyres out quicker, but we'll have to see that later in the race. But don't forget, Rob usually makes up some places on the start.
We're all set for round 10 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship from the beautiful Oulton Park in Cheshire. Lights out, away we go, and both front row men make a good start. Tom Onslow-Cole heads down in the first corner of it. Gordon Shedden's going to go on the attack in the red and white Honda on the outside. The Scot is on the attack. He's not quite alongside enough, Tom Onslow-Cole. Plato, a good start in 3rd place, and in fact Plato challenging for 2nd as they head down towards Cascades, and he is putting Shedden under pressure. Can he cut across in front of him? No, he can't. They're side by side, and Plato still in 3rd with his teammate Alex McDowell there.
Yeah, if this was any other form of racing other than touring cars, Plato would have turned in there, but he just knew Shedden was going to keep it up the inside.
So on board with Tom Chilton. He's been passed by Rob Collard in the BMW. Chilton out wide, he might get squeezed out. There's a bit of contact just ahead of him as Collard and McDowell go door handle to door handle. Up front though, Tom Onslow-Cole trying to make the initial break here. Jason Plato in 3rd. McDowell versus Collard, and Collard has got that place. He squeezes the BMW down the inside.
Yeah, great move by Rob there. Remember his charge through from the back last year. He loves this circuit and he's always a great racer, but Onslow-Cole has got through those tricky first 3 corners, which are so difficult for the touring cars. Now he's got to get his head down and go.
Yeah, he's already pulling away though. Tom Onslow-Cole looking very strong. Gordon Shedden in 2nd place, then Plato and Collard, and it is Collard once again who could be the one to watch here. As you say, he had that incredible recovery drive here last year from 20th to 4th in race 3, and he loves the Oulton Park circuit. But Collard now to get past Plato, well, that could be a pretty tough question. They are coming down to his leap. Somebody bouncing across the grass as they came out of Lodge Corner. And here goes Collard. He's got the inside line, and he just drives straight past Plato.
Well, he got great traction coming off Lodge Corner. The BMWs put their power down down very well out of the slow corners, and he just timed it perfectly and got the drive initially, and his momentum took him through. It wasn't superior power, it's just getting on the throttle earlier and momentum.
So great effort by Rob Collard, and that has put him up into third place ahead of the two Chevys. Tom Chilton in the other Ford, the Team Aon car still tucked in there behind the two Chevrolets. James Nash going well. Oh, and the two Chevys tap each other there. McDowell, the youngster, tapping his team leader Jason Plato.
Well, Plato was very slow on the right on the apex there. He's obviously concentrating on his exit, and McDowell with a slightly tighter line inadvertently just tapped the back of him. No damage done though.
So behind James Nash, it's Matt Jackson running in 8th place. Stephen Kane, the two Airways BMWs, they didn't qualify brilliantly well. 10th place at the moment is Tom Boardman, and Matt Neal down in 11th. Let's take another look at this.
Yeah, if you look, I think Jason is concentrating on cutting in on the exit of the corner, and was a bit slow just on the apex.
So Tom Onslow Cole, race leader, has got that useful little advantage over Gordon Shedden in second. Oh, we've got somebody, that's Tom Boardman, who has pulled off to the side of the track in this Seat, and that's a disappointment for the Lancashire man. He's got some friends here watching him this weekend, and here comes Tom Chilton trying to get past Alex McDowell as they head down towards Old Hall Corner, but McDowell defends the inside.
Yeah, it's very difficult to pass it unless you get up the inside, as Rob Collard did, but they're still under pressure down the avenue and down to Cascades. Cascades is an overtaking place. Here we go on board. Can Chilton get up the inside? No, good driving by McDowell to close the door.
And this is what McDowell's got to show us, Tim. He's shown great pace. He's had a podium finish. Can he race against the best in touring cars? Well, at the moment, he's doing a pretty good job of it.
He is. I mean, he's very young and he's learning. Again, Plato with that wide line. See how he comes in wide, cuts in, concentrating 100% on the exit of the corner. Just leaves him a little bit vulnerable to that tap. It's a good job as his teammate behind, because if Chilton gets by, he may not be quite as kind.
Here comes Chilton again, having a little look, but again, he can't quite get alongside the Chevrolet in front of him. Fastest lap last time around was by Gordon Shedden, interestingly, so the car in second place actually is holding, if not closing, on the race leader Tom Onslow Cole. So despite that Ford Focus, the other Ford Focus leading the race, he might not be having it all his own way. Chilton's still trying to make up some ground here, trying to get past this Chevrolet of McDowell. There are the leaders then, and as you can see, the gap, it was 1.3 seconds the last time they came around. Looks as though it's going to be similar. They have got away a bit from Collard. Chilton's still on the attack.
Yeah, it was only a 10th quicker on the last lap, so that's very little indeed, but we'll get another check on it this time as they come round, and now it's a little bit more. Shedden actually some 0.4 of a second quicker, nearly half a second quicker than Onslow Cole.
Oh, and still side by side for a moment, Chilton with McDowell, but again McDowell had the inside line. Again he was able to protect his position. Chilton's had a good run out. Down at Knickerbrook, meanwhile.
That's Matt Hamilton.
Yeah. So the youngster who had a great run at Brands got into the points, but he's out of this race. He's safe and sound though, no problems. We'll see if what happened here. The VW Golf involved on the inside. Oh, and there was contact between Sean Hollenby's Golf and Matt Hamilton's Honda.
Oh, yeah, and then nearly further contact as well, but yeah, I think he's just got his front wheels in the gravel there and probably couldn't move it out.
Now we've got a change further back, I think. You could just see Matt Jackson in the Airways BMW who's got ahead of James Nash in the black Vauxhall. So Matt Jackson has moved up to 7th place, another man who's won here in the past. And oh, and Andrew Jordan's pulled off by the look of it. We've got the safety car coming on circuit. This is a straight tow, so that's not too much of a problem.
Yeah, I think you may find, though, that that Matt Hamilton's car's in the gravel on the exit of Knickerbrook, because it looked to me at the end of that shot where he went off like the front wheels were just going to end up in the gravel. I think that's probably why the safety car's out.
Yeah, so that's bunched everybody back together, and that little advantage that Onslow Cole had over Shedden, which Shedden was just closing up. Yeah, you're right. That's very prone, isn't it? I mean, if you go off there on the exit, you're straight into the car.
Yeah, that needs moving. I think it was just coincidence that Jordan pulled off on the same lap.
Yeah, so Onslow Cole under safety car, in control, but Gordon Shedden, remember, who's won a race here at Oulton Park on every occasion he's raced a touring car here. Didn't race here last year, but the last time he was here in 2008, he certainly did take a victory, and he's been quick all weekend. So all the cars now just have to slow down, no overtaking clearly behind the safety car, and will bunch themselves back up together. Just to note that Matt Jackson is now in 7th place, ahead of James Nash, with Stephen Kane in 8th place, and Matt Neal down in 10th, which is interesting. Matt Neal's not really had a very good early part to this race, has he?
No, he hasn't. That's his namesake, Matt Hamilton, there, looking a little bit disappointed. I think he did a good job in qualifying, actually, and he really has got good pace, this youngster, but obviously he is in some fairly old machinery. But yeah, Matt Neal hasn't made the progress yet, but Matt can be patient. I know we can be very forceful, but he can also be patient. What surprised me really has been the pace of the BMWs from the get-go, because normally they take a couple of laps to get their tyres up to temperature, and it's the front-wheel drive cars that are stronger early on. But Jackson was off like a rabbit out of a gun, and he was really, obviously the warmer conditions are getting their tyres working well, and we know they last very well on the BMWs. So it could be that again with this safety car they're going to push the others closer on the restart.
So the cars all lining up behind the safety car. Let's see if we can get a quick word with Tom Chilton. Tom, this is Ben. You've been having a good battle there with Alex McDowell, but he's not making your life too easy at the moment, is he?
No, he's not. He's defending into every single corner, which is making it very hard for me to get past. I'm a bit worried now the BMW's behind. If he keeps defending, it's going to slow us all up as a group, and then it might give the Beamer a chance to get past. So I need to be very wary of that, and I need to try and trick McDowell.
Okay, well, we'll wish you luck with that. It's obviously going to be an ongoing battle, and it is very relevant, of course, that the safety car has closed this group up. It means that Matt Jackson's right behind him. We know how good a racer Jackson can be, so Tom's now got lots to think about here.
Yeah, and that's exactly why McDowell should defend, because if he defends and it ends up with a situation now where Jackson is behind Chilton and can put pressure on him, then obviously that's going to distract Chilton from overtaking him and can give him a gap to get away, and that's touring car racing. You know, you don't let people through, you defend as hard as you can and then hope that the situation comes back to your favour, and with Jackson now pressurising Chilton, it may let McDowell get away.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Safety car still out there at the moment. There is Matt Neal, as we mentioned, all the way down in 10th place. Didn't really make a particularly good start. We'll take another look at this. Remember, he's carrying maximum ballast. And watch this, trying to get off the line.
You just saw a hint there of tyre smoke coming off the bottom of the screen, and I think it looked like he didn't get a very good jump, but what I think actually happened was he got too much wheel spin and the car just didn't move forward. The best way to get these cars moving is almost like making a fast getaway from the traffic lights without any wheel spin, and Matt just dumped the clutch there a little bit too hard and got the wheel spinning and lost all drive.
So that's fairly crucial, because Jason Plato sitting in 4th place. Matt Neal is in 10th place. They are joint championship leaders, remember, coming into this race, but Plato much better off sitting up there in 4th place. Safety car might help Matt Neal. He's behind the BMW of Stephen Kane, but that car, as we say, is more likely to get stronger and better. So could be tough. Lights are off on the safety car, and we are about to go racing once again. And Tom Onslow-Cole really weaving that Ford around, trying to make sure he keeps some tyre temperature. All ready for this first race of the day at Oulton Park to restart after a safety car intervention. Safety car comes in. Onslow-Cole leads them across the line then to get the race back underway. It's a very good restart by the youngster. He's got away ahead of Shedden there in 2nd place. Collard is still in 3rd. Then Plato, then McDowell, then it's Tom Chilton, who knows he needs to use this first lap under green to go on the attack, and that's what he's doing. We're with Tom Chilton, trying to go side by side once again with McDowell as they come down towards Cascades. Now, can he shut the door on him? Squeeze in? No, he can't. But they're still going to be side by side. Oh, it pushes Chilton wide, and he loses a place maybe to Matt Jackson. That's exactly what he was worried about.
Yeah, he tried to go around the outside. McDowell wasn't giving any room, but he's still on the inside of Jackson here at the hairpin, and the Nash and Kane all queuing up behind, but they managed to get around side by side.
Good traction off the hairpin for the BMW, and he's got it back in front. That's exactly what you said just now. The rear-wheel drive, traction out of a slow corner, allowed him to just get ahead of the Ford.
Yeah, Chilton was very good there, because Chilton could have pushed him wide onto the dirt, which would have helped him enormously, but he didn't.
Little battle between Andy Nick and Lee Wood going on further back. That's for 11th place. Those two having a good old tussle, but the race has got underway. Onslow-Cole made a very good restart, but actually he's not been able to capitalise on that other group I just mentioned. You saw them, they're about 3 abreast at the moment.
It was a good restart by Onslow-Cole. He did something differently this time. He didn't accelerate before the last corner. He actually waited till they were round the corner and starting to come down the dip, which just caught the others on the hop.
Yeah, but they've stayed with him on the lap, haven't they? Shedden's not far behind him. Then it's Collard, and then we've got Plato. But let's get some reaction from the pits. We gather Andy Jordan's made it back, and he's with Louise.
Yeah, this car has spent far too much time in the pit lane rather than out on track. What's the problem with it this time,
Well, we're
Andy?
not picking that
Have
up,
a guess.
I think, Louis.
Engine.
I think we are.
It's getting a bit of a joke now, really. As you know, yesterday we struggled with an engine problem all first free practice and second free practice. The lads worked so hard to try and get out for qualifying and missed out by about 6 minutes. And then had a good first lap, and then it starts sounding like an old tractor. So, just getting a bit annoying now.
Fixable, do you know?
Doesn't sound it, no. So, we'll have to redo, maybe put the other one in, but as we say, I think there's a problem with that one as well, so we're a bit stuck. Very frustrating.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So the car's coming up over the hill once again, and Onslow Cole still with the advantage over Gordon Shedden in second place, and then Collard in third. Little look down the inside there, but nothing happening for Matt Jackson. He's now trying to get past those two Chevrolets, and it is the youngster Alex McDowell, of course, that he's got to get past first if he's to get on terms with Jason Plato. Then it's Tom Chilton, the black car of James Nash, chased by Matt Neal, who's now in ninth place, and then Stephen Kane in the second of the Airways BMW. Still got a way to go. We're on lap 8 out of 17.
Yeah, remember just before the safety car, Shedden was eating into Onslow Cole's lead, and it certainly looks like he's got the better pace. In fact, Onslow Cole's defending into Lodge already. Now this is going to bring everyone close. Oh, Jackson late lunge up the inside, and McDowell, good move.
Wonderful, wonderful overtake, and he finishes it off by squeezing McDowell out, and that's allowed Chilton through. And actually Chilton's on a bit of a challenge on Jackson as well, as they come down into Old Hall, but I think Jackson will just fend him off. Yes, he does. Great manoeuvre by Matt Jackson. He caught Alex McDowell there, and one of the Forster BMWs in trouble there. I think it is Arthur Forster in trouble. Martin Depper's running in 13th place at the moment. There's Arthur. He's just been off somewhere.
Yeah, I think he's had a half spin and was just getting going. Or let's call that a full spin, shall we?
That's a scary place too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fast corner that is. So now this was Jackson when he made the late lunge to go down the inside. Lovely judgment there.
Yeah, and lots of room given by both drivers until Jackson used all the road on the exit. And look at Tom Onslow Cole here. He's sensing an opportunity. Jackson sees him coming, covers the inside. Tom Onslow Cole, Chilton maintains the momentum, but he's on the outside and can't cut back in. Great racing.
Yeah, good stuff. And Jackson taking full. As you say though, McDowell, fair dues to him. He gave Jackson. He didn't suddenly shut the door on him when he realised he was there, but that has changed things around a little bit, because now you've got Jackson pressurising Plato for the next few laps. Onslow Cole still the race leader then. Gordon Shedden is in second place in the Honda Racing Civic. Then in third is the first of the BMWs, that's Rob Collard. Good solid podium finish in prospect if he stays there, but hasn't given up on this yet to go further, I'm sure. Jason Plato sitting in fourth place. Matt Jackson now in fifth position, and as they come up across the line, Tom Chilton is in sixth place, and Alex McDowell has dropped down to seventh. Matt Neal still in eighth, then it's Stephen Kane, and James Nash now up to 10th.
Yeah, interesting talking to Dick Bennett from West Surrey Racing about the work they're doing with Rob Collard, because initially Rob Collard didn't like the settings on the car that Colin Turkington used, felt they were too soft, but they've been working with Rob and his driving style to extract the most out of this setup on the car, and it certainly seems to be working now.
It does, that's interesting, and Turkington of course had a great Oulton part, didn't he? Look at this, Plato really struggling to keep Jackson behind him on the run down towards the hairpin, just about managed it. Jackson unable to use that rear-wheel drive traction to his advantage out of the hairpin, and still no change up front. Onslow Cole in the Ford Focus leads the race from Gordon Shedden in the Honda, Collard in the BMW, then Plato, and then Jackson. So 4 different cars in the top 4 places, and then another BMW, that of Matt Jackson of course, and he's being chased by Tom Chilton. Alex McDowell then at the head of that next group of cars, which has got a joint series leader, Matt Neal, in it, with Stephen Kane and James Nash.
Yeah, and of course great news about reigning champion Turkington, that we hear he's going to be back in a car for at least 3 races in the World Touring Car Championship, including Brands Hatch.
Yeah, so it's good to know that he'll be out there racing, and here comes Jackson having a look at Plato. It's where he got past McDowell, but Plato wasn't going to make it as easy for him.
Not quite this lap, but it's clearly going to be Jackson's favourite overtaking place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good on the brakes, that BMW, into that tight right-hander that leads them back onto the start-finish. Into Old Hall corner they go. Watch them running wide here. Jackson actually ran very wide here yesterday. I saw a photo where he ended up. He was so close to swiping the barriers. That's how hard he was trying in qualifying, and he's trying equally hard in this race, but he won't want to run quite so wide out of Old Hall corner.
great corner, that Cascade. The television doesn't do it justice, but there's a huge elevation change as the circuit drops away down the avenue. Look at this, up the inside, Shedden on the inside,
Collard
around
on the outside.
Collard gets a good drive out the corner.
Oh, Collard really on the attack here, and it looked like he might get to all of them in one fell swoop, but he's still challenging for second place. The BMW on the outside of Rob Collard, but there's no room to turn in at Knickerbrook, and he has to slot in behind the Honda once again. Clever stuff, and he's pushing hard, and he's keeping them worried, but he knew he had to back out of that, and he's settled back into third place. But Onslow Cole, if anything here, Tim, he seems to be holding these guys up a bit now.
Yeah, we're into the realms now where the front-wheel drive cars starting to really work their front tyres very hard. We're definitely in BMW territory now in terms of favouring the car at the end of the race. And look at that Shedden wide again. This could give Collard a chance, perhaps, but he's not close enough, I don't think. Yeah, definitely you get the impression that Onslow Cole is holding up this whole train of cars, and that something's got to give here before the end of the race.
Yeah, that's right. Good lap from Shedden again. Another fastest lap, new lap record for Gordon Shedden. So he really is flying at the moment. Can he hold on and try and take the victory here? That's the question. Jackson was the former lap record holder himself, and we saw that Jackson was on the attack, but he's still behind Plato. There we are, Plato, Jackson, Chilton, McDowell in the second of the Silver Line Chevys.
Yeah, in fact, the fastest lap by Shedden was actually set on lap 3, and they're now lapping some 2 seconds a lap slower than that, which is the tyre degradation I was talking about.
Yeah, and here comes Collard again, looking for space, but down the outside, and Shedden, meanwhile, has got a little nudge up the inside. He's trying to take the leaders. Collard's trying to take second place. Oh, this is good stuff. Each covering the other, but so far Tom Onslow Cole's just about staying in front, and a gaggle of cars behind as Plato leads that next group down into Knickerbrook, and Onslow Cole carried a lot of speed in there.
Yeah, that was clever driving by Collard. He looked like he was going to do the same as the last lap and go around the outside, but then he was trying to cut back to the inside and get the overlap there on the exit. But of course, at the same time, Shedden was trying to do the same to Onslow Cole. But good tactical driver. You can see the drivers thinking about different options to overtake.
It's lovely, isn't it? And they're doing it all at high speed as well. And actually, Onslow Cole has just taken a bit of a break here for whatever reason, because they all fought so much of the hairpin. He's just managed to get a bit of a break. Jackson looking down the inside of Plato again. No way, Plato just shuts the door on him. On board with Chilton, who might have a bit more momentum thanks to those two fighting ahead of him.
Oh, that looked like Jackson was really committed there. I thought there was going to be contact. It looked like he was struggling to get out of it at the end by having to go across the inside, but he was certainly fully committed to that move.
Yes, he was, but they just about got away with it, didn't they? So that's good news. Meanwhile, down towards Cascade, still on board with Tom Chilton. Jackson moving around a little bit, just trying to harry Jason Plato into a little error. And Chilton's had a great run, but where can he go? Meanwhile, back with the leaders. Is Collard going to do anything this time? No room really to go either side. And Chilton in the background there having a little run at Matt Jackson, but again, no way past.
So difficult. I can't tell you how hard it is to brake for that island hairpin, because the braking point is very bumpy. There's even a little crest where the front of the car goes light, and certainly when it's wet it's very easy to lock the front wheels up there, but it's very difficult to control the braking down to a speed where the front of the car will turn in nicely to that hairpin.
So everybody dealing with it okay at the moment, but prospect for drama down there all the way through this race. Plato still holding off from Jackson in 4th place, looking at useful points. Matt Neal still down in 9th, and of course in terms of the championship, Matt Neal desperately wants to try and get past that BMW that's right there ahead of him. That is Stephen Kane. Meanwhile, Stephen Kane has a good chance of opening up a gap in the independence point. So everybody fighting for position. And meanwhile, Alex McDowell, Jason Plato coming back, defending Jackson. McDowell still behind them, and they're all bunching up so much. Surely there could be contact here. Plato's going to have to go defensive.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can say too much about the competitiveness of all the different cars when you've got 10 cars covered by less than 5 seconds after 12 laps.
It is so close between these different cars. This is wonderful stuff. On board with Jackson. Jackson getting alongside Plato, but on the outside as they come into Cascade. And don't forget, Chilton's right in behind him as well. He won't want to lose that place. McDowell slides a bit on the exit. Chilton still on the attack on Jackson. We're on board with Matt Jackson behind Jason Plato, and Chilton again is forced out wide. Meanwhile, Stephen Kane's got up the inside of McDowell. Stephen Kane's gained a place. Matt Neal can't follow him, and McDowell loses one more.
Yeah, and in a situation like this where the cars are closely bunched, sometimes you have no choice but to run side by side.
Yeah, you have to. You've got to do something. McDowell will be kicking himself for that one, but that was a good opportunist piece of overtaking by Stephen Kane, and at the right time as well, because he had Matt Neal bearing down on him. Top three come over the hill, and then it's fourth place silver line car of Jason Plato, still chased by Matt Jackson, and Jackson working that BMW very hard indeed, trying to see whether that rear-wheel drive looking advantage of looking after the tyres can help him in the closing stages. Still a few laps to go here, and up front Onslow Cole is withstanding the pressure, holding on to the lead of the race.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job actually, Onslow Cole. I mean, he's been under pressure all the way through this race, but the fact that the grid has all been so close together in the race is actually helping him.
Onslow Cole into Old Hall corner, and Shedden behind by, what was it, 6/10 of a second as they crossed the line that time. And Shedden really is busy protecting his second place from Rob Collard. And Collard, well, watch for him. He won't want to do anything too risky. Here comes Jackson, who is going for the risk. Gets a bit of contact with Plato. Plato goes sideways. Jackson is through. Plato's on the grass, but he will not be impressed by that.
No, that one is going to run to the clerk of the course's office, I dare say. But, I mean, Jackson trying to surprise Plato in a different place on the circuit with a lunge up the inside into Cascades. It's a great place to overtake if it does come off, but obviously if it doesn't, it's at relatively high speed and one car or the other is going to go off.
Yeah, well, Plato seemed to have it held for a while, but they are travelling very quickly down through that left-hander, and there was no way of stopping the car going onto the grass. Take another look at him.
There you go, late lunge, but Plato's already turning into the corner, so contact inevitable. Plato holds it beautifully until he gets to the grass, and then he's really a passenger.
Minimum speed through there, about 90 miles an hour, so it's all happening pretty quickly.
Yeah, watch how late the lunge is. Plato's already on the brakes and already turning in. He takes a tight line, as you would do in a front-wheel drive car, and inevitable, really.
Yeah, and, well, there's team boss for Matt Jackson, but I'm not sure that David felt that it was a particular...
Yeah, I think David's comment there was, that one's going to give us trouble.
Yeah, you can see it. He just wasn't quite alongside enough to really claim the corner. Meanwhile, up front, Onslow Cole, we're on lap 16 out of 17, so less than 2 laps to go now. Can Onslow Cole hold on for victory? It would be his second victory, but it would be his first on the road to see the checkered flag, because he got a win at Brands Hatch last time after his teammate Chilton got thrown out of the result. So Onslow Cole doing a fantastic job, but don't forget that Shedden and Collard behind him could still find a way through with a lap and a half to go. Look at Collard again, going deep, looking for the exit, doesn't cut back. He's going all the way around the outside, and he's still challenging, and he might be able to shut the door on Shedden as they come up over the hill, but I'm not sure he can.
Well, he was trying to move across, but Shedden's just about got enough to hold it on the inside, and I mean, great driving by Collard and Shedden. Shedden to give him room on the exit, and Collard to use... Oh, wow, that was close. Look at that. See the black lines he left there on the ground. That's going to lose him some momentum up the hill. That was going to separate them before they go into the next lap. But
that shows that in just one big moment like that, look how much difference it makes.
Yeah, you lose momentum in one of these cars, especially prior to a long, flat-out section uphill, and that's the distance you lose.
Incredible. That's how much on the limit they are, and if you just overstep it fractionally, it makes such a difference. So, as they come around this time, Tom Onslow Cole will be starting the last lap of this race. Plato, look how far back he is now, all the way down to 10th place for Plato. There's James Nash you just saw going through in 9th place in the Black Vauxhall. But Tom Onslow Cole, can he hold on for one more lap? Now, Shedden doesn't have to worry anymore about Collard. He's way ahead of him, so he can just go for it now.
Yeah, he can. At least he can just attack. And, of course, the other element of Plato dropping back is he's now behind Matt Neal, 2 places behind Matt Neal in the points.
Yes, that's right. That is a very good point in terms of the championship. That incident has made a big difference. Here we go, then. Is Shedden going to attack into the hairpin? Onslow Cole sensibly holds the middle of the road, as long as he doesn't lose too much corner speed. That was cleverly driven again by Tom Onslow Cole, the 23-year-old, showing some real nous about how to position a touring car in exactly the right place.
Yep, cover the inside, don't make any mistakes on the brakes, no need to brake desperately late, concentrate on the exit. He's inadvertently flicked the wipers on, that'll distract him a little bit. I'm sure he didn't mean to do that. And they've now switched themselves off halfway across his screen, so he's got things to think about even on this last lap, but he'll be able to get Druid's absolutely right, this next class right-hander, so that he's not under pressure. He's got a good little gap now, needs to get this corner just right so that he doesn't have to defend too hard into Lodge.
This is good stuff, and I think he's done enough here. Shedden surely is too far back to make the lunge into Lodge corner. Tom Onslow-Cole feeds it into the final sharp right-hander. He is definitely cooking on gas as it's win number 3 for LPG, and Onslow-Cole takes his second win of the season, but his first to see the checkered flag. Delight for Team Aon. They have worked so hard and they have come back again here at Oulton Park to take another victory. Second there went to Shedden, third to Collard, fourth to Jackson, fifth to Tom Chilton, then Stephen Kane, then McDowell, with Matt Neal finishing in 8th place, James Nash in 9th, Plato in 10th, and a race of really changing fortunes, particularly for the championship leaders, Jason Plato and Matt Neal. But for Tom Onslow-Cole, a beautifully driven race, absolutely perfect from the start, under lots of pressure throughout. He had to deal with a restart as well, but he did everything to perfection, and he absolutely deserved the victory there. His first in the focus with no one else in front of him. The win he inherited at Brands Hatch when his teammate lost the victory. Well, this one will be even more satisfying because he beat them all on this occasion and showed them how to do it. Gordon Shedden, a very, very solid second place, and those two, of course, will start on the front row for the second race of the day with some ballast added, but you've got to think that they're going to be right in the hunt once again. And what a good drive it was by Rob Collard, who started on the third row of the grid and moved himself up into third position. But Plato in the middle of that shot, the big loser in that race, because he was some 5 or 6 places ahead of his big rival Matt Neal for so long, until the contact with Matt Jackson, which pushed him down the order and ended up him finishing 2 places behind Matt Neal. So suddenly Neal, who seemed to be in a bit of trouble in this race versus Plato, it's all changed. But I don't think somehow that there won't be a steward's investigation after that one, because Jackson, who finished in 4th place, definitely made a pretty late lunge to go for the inside into Cascades. There was contact between himself and Plato, and that one is going to cause a few discussions afterwards, I think. So Onslow-Cole takes victory in the first race of the day here at Oulton Park. Second place goes to Gordon Shedden, who ended up with fastest lap as well. Collard in 3rd, Matt Jackson in 4th, Tom Chilton 5th place, then Stephen Kane, Alex McDowell was 7th, Matt Neal was 8th, James Nash was 9th, and Jason Plato a disappointed 10th. Outside the top 10 we had Andy Neate, John George and Lee Wood. They all raced hard though. Look how close the gaps were still, just fractions of a second. Martin Depper a good 14th ahead of Martin Johnson. Arthur Forster got to the finish, but it's those that didn't make it to the end: Sean Hollenby, Dave Pinkney, Andrew Jordan and Matt Hamilton. So in terms of the points, this is what it has done. Matt Neal now 2 points ahead of Jason Plato. For most of that race, Plato looked to be heading for the championship lead, but it changed. And then Stephen Kane is still in 3rd place, 1 point only ahead of Gordon Shedden. Matt Jackson's there in 5th place ahead of Onslow-Cole. Paul O'Neill didn't get to start that race, so it pushes him down the order. Then it's Rob Collard, Giovanardi, and the top 10 rounded out by Tom Chilton.
Tom, well done. Yeah, Tom, well done. A second victory and a big contrast with the manner of your breakthrough at Brands Hatch, of course. Just get your helmet off and tell us exactly how tough it was, because you really had to defend throughout that race. It was a hard one.
Yeah, that was it was definitely a hard race to win, but so pleased to have won one of my own now.
Yeah, the feeling must be very different. Great feeling of satisfaction, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, fantastic to obviously inherit the win from Tom. Brands Hatch was nice in a way, but obviously a bit of a kick for the team. But to do this on our own is fantastic. It's been a good weekend so far.
Good start and a good restart as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, we kept it clean. Didn't get off the line too bad. He managed to hold Gordon off, but a fantastic job Gordon did there. He put me under pressure and held off Rob Collard the whole way through. So he had a good race as well there.
How were those front tyres behaving in the latter stages of the race in particular?
Not too bad. Definitely there's some drop-off, but whether or not it's going to be detriment to us with the weight on, we don't know. We have to see for the next one.
Yeah, give us an idea of what might lie in store for the second race today.
Well, you'd like to think another one of those, but maybe a bit easier would be nice. Don't know about you guys, I'm tired.
We were tired just watching that. Great performance. Great win by Tom Onslow Cole, and I think Louise is standing by with Gordon Shedden.
Yeah, Gordon just taking his helm off down in the Parc Ferme area. Great race, but just no way past that Ford today, was there?
No, I mean Tom's driving well, to be fair, but it's like going back to the days of the Seat Diesel. The speed of it in a straight line is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I've been past him twice and he just drives straight past me. So, you know, the Honda Civic's fantastic around here. It's really, really hooked up around the corners. But when you've got something that can pull out, 3, 4, 5 car lengths in a straight line, it makes it a tad difficult rather than take them off. And I'm not going to do that. So, I need to reassess and see what we can come up with for the next one. Hopefully the ballast slows them down a little bit.
So you're thinking they've still got an advantage then?
Yeah, a clear advantage.
Good battles going on though. I mean, you were spending a lot of time looking in front, but just as much checking your rear-view mirrors with this guy just behind, Rob Collard, coming up fast behind you. All three of you there in the thick of it.
I mean, it was a good race, and Rob's there trying to pass, but Tom's so defensive so early that there's nothing I can do. I'm kind of like the meat in a sandwich, and I'm just kind of sitting there for most of the race. But like I said, he slows it up so much and then just disappears on a straight line and takes you the rest of the lap to catch him.
Rob agreeing with that. Let's get your view on that, Rob.
Gordon and I had a fantastic race. We were getting blocked by the Focus. We had so much more speed at the end of the race. Well, even from halfway through the race, we could go probably a fair chunk faster. But the gas car has got so much acceleration out the corners, and Tom drove a fantastic race. Credit to him. He knew what he had to do to defend, and it's a shame that some cars got so much advantage.
Great result for you, though. Good start, and your car really seemed to come into its own halfway through the race.
Yeah, the WSR HM plant car is fantastic. We knew, we were very pleased with qualifying yesterday, the speed we had, and we know that we can then be really strong at the end of races as well. So very pleased.
Well done. Look forward to seeing you out in the next race. We're off for a quick break now, but we've got Porsches coming up very shortly.
Here at Oulton Park, first touring car race of the day. Jason Plato in the walls and nudged out of the championship lead. It was the second win of the season, though, for Tom Onslow Cole, but one for which he had to battle throughout an absorbing race. Well, we got the first of our support races coming up in just a moment. The Porsche Carrera's all set to go, but I wonder what was Jason's reaction to the incident in that first race a few minutes ago. He's talking with Louise.
Well, let's find out from him, Steve. Bit of a cheeky nudge from Matt Jackson there, or far more of a ruder move?
It's not really an overtaking point, is it, into there? It's certainly not an overtaking position for me. A bit surprised at Matt, really, but, we're all trying to race and crack on. I was a bit of a mobile chicane, if I'm honest. The BMW was quick, but even still, I'm not a mug, and only mugs get overtaken in that sort of situation. So Matt, maybe he made a mistake, I don't know, but disappointing.
Not the start you wanted to your weekend, is it?
No, it's not really the start I wanted, but it's a long way to go. We're just too slow in a straight line. I think that's clear to see, and the problem is, I can't look forward after I'm always driving on my mirrors, because every time I get near the end of the straight, I've got cars up behind me who are challenging, so then I have to defend, which means I then can't take my optimum line to look after my tyres and So it's kind of a bit of a downward spiral at the minute. We need to make the thing faster in a straight line. I'm not sure why that might be, why we've lost ground to everyone else. Okay, we got weight, but my car's going slightly faster than it did last year in a straight line. And everyone was saying we were the quickest then, so I don't know. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know.
Thanks, Jason. Let's go back and catch up with the Porsches who are out on track now.
It's turned overcast and a little breezy here at Oulton Park, but we're about 10 minutes away from round 11 of the Dunlop British Touring Car Championship. Championship season that's already maintaining all the great standards of what's gone before. Let's remind you of a little of that in our special Touring Car Archive section, including the day of celebration for Ivan Muller here at Oulton Park some 7 years ago.
Thompson is going to come through and take victory, but he's not going to take the title.
The last race was in Oulton Park, and even in my car I was waiting the problem, because okay, last year it was a problem, the year before it was a problem, probably something will happen before the end. And I was surprised when I finished the race, and I was champion finally. It was time.
He's champion.
It was the 25 lap, the longest of my life.
Second race of the day at Oulton Park, underway, and who's going to get off the line? The BMW quick again, but Giovanardi trying to fend him off, he can't, and Matt Jackson in the white BMW as well. He's going to move up into second place here. He might even take the lead. Oh, we've got Spinner off, that's Pickney. Oh, and Jason Hughes climbs the tyres. The race is restarted by Colin Turkington leading from Fabrizio Giovanardi in second, and this is going to be a real tussle all the way to the checkered flag. Less than a lap to do here at Oulton Park. Oh, this is quality racing from two top touring car drivers. They're going to be almost side by side, but it's going to be Colin Turkington, who just, I think, yes, he takes it by 0.046 of a second.
You know, it was a very difficult race, you know, running about there behind the safety car, just, you know, trying to keep my concentration, but you know, the lads at Team RAC done an absolutely fantastic job. You know, we had quite a bit of work to do to change the car between the races, so it's great to get another win, absolutely fantastic.
Lights out, here we go, we're racing, and here comes Jackson through the middle, and from the second row, it is Matt Jackson who makes a breathtaking start. He takes the lead into Old Hall. Jackson looks great though, leading this race, but he does have championship antagonist Jason Plato behind him now. Look how close Plato is out of Lodge Corner, almost nudges the back of the BMW. He's way ahead of Plato, he's got several car lengths advantage. The checkered flag awaits, and we have a brand new winner in the British Touring Cars. It's Matt Jackson who takes the victory.
It's great for everybody that's involved in such a small team. You know, we're a true independent team. I'll be unloading the lorry tomorrow.
Away we go, and here comes Turkington trying to go through the middle. He's got past one of them. Colin Turkington leads into the first corner from third on the grid. Matt Jackson from second place has run wide. Turkington's on for the maximum point score here. Yeah. It's Colin Turkington who's driven absolutely perfectly. It's his third win in 3 years at Oulton Park. Lights out, away we go, and off the line goes Turkington. A beautiful getaway.
Colin Turkington setting his fastest lap.
Is there a nudge? Oh, it's tight. Oh, there's a nudge, there's a bang, and there's a little bit of bumper gets removed. Turkington takes his third win of the year, the first three-time winner of 2009.
Credit to my guys, you know, the car was running unbelievably well, you know, it was really, really consistent. To win twice in one day is fantastic, so, you know, the way we're going today is going to take a lot to stop us.
Just last year, and Colin Turkington failing to get the budget to mount a defence of his title is one of the few disappointments of this British Touring Car Championship season so far. Cars are fired up ahead of round 11 just before we join them out on the grid. Front-wheel drive against rear-wheel drive is one of the perennial debates within touring car circles. Where does the advantage lie? What different kind of techniques and tactics do they both require? No better man to make it all absolutely clear than the former champion, Tim Harvey.
After 9 races in the championship, we've seen honours split evenly between the front-wheel drive and the rear-wheel drive cars. But what are the benefits of each? Well, quite clearly on a front-wheel drive car, all of the braking, acceleration and turning is done by the front wheels alone, and this induces more heat and more wear in the front tyres. Therefore, the car is better in qualifying, where it works the tyre initially harder. It's also better in extreme wet conditions, where it can get more grip from the front tyres. And finally, it's much better, as we've often seen, when the car is tapped into a near impossible spin. The driver can floor the throttle, spin the front wheels up and pull it back into shape. The benefits the front-wheel drive cars have are conversely the negatives for a rear-wheel drive car. But of course, it does have its own advantages too, especially on the starts, where the weight transfer loads the rear tyres up and the cars get a great start, despite TOCA changing the first gear on the cars for 2010. The BMWs also have an advantage in wet to dry races, where because they wear the tyres more evenly, they can keep gripping the wet tyres as they deteriorate much better than the front-wheel drive cars. And that also helps them in very hot conditions or on tracks that are very aggressive on tyres, where again, by splitting the weight of the car more evenly and the wear on the tyres, they can be quicker at the end of the races.
And the other big question in touring car circles at the moment, can Ford, fueled by LPG gas, maintain their winning form? Tom Onslow-Cole, a winner for Ford earlier this afternoon. And we'll be joining him. We'll be joining Louise as well, out on the grid in a few minutes' time.
We're down on the grid just before the start of the second touring car race, and there are probably quite a few drivers down here who think they're proper superstars, but I'm joined by two people who really are world champions in their own disciplines of gymnastics and cycling, Beth Tweddle and Ed Clancy. Great to see you both here. Now, Beth, you were actually met up with some of the drivers last night at a Honda event, didn't you?
Yeah, they were doing a question in motorsport, and I was the mystery guest, so they had to guess who I was while I was in handstand.
First time at a race, what do you think of it?
It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe how fast it is and how noisy it is, but it's been a really great day.
You're enjoying it so far then?
Absolutely love it. I think I might convert across to it.
That's what we like to hear. And Ed, what about you?
Wow, I just fancied a day off from training, to be honest. So yeah, I'm quite into my motorsport, and it's great to be down here with Honda and watch a bit of racing, yeah.
Obviously better known for two wheels than four. You've got a race coming up this week, Ed, I believe.
Yeah, there's a series of town centre races at the moment called the Tour Series, and strangely enough it's televised on ITV4. So yeah, we're keeping myself busy with those at the moment, for sure.
What do you think of the racing you've seen so far today?
Wow, it's pretty good. I think we could do with a bit of rain though, that would really spice things up, but no, it's looking good. And yeah, I'm putting my money on Matt Neal for this race. I can see it in his eyes. He's coming through the pack on this one.
Listen, I think we better get off this grid because they're about to roar off behind us. So let's go straight up to Bennington in the commentary box.
Thanks very much, Louise. Getting all set then for the second race of the day here at Oulton Park. And Tim has joined me, as you say, fresh from his victory in the Porsche Carrera Cup. Well done, Tim.
Thank you very much. Yes,
another win.
Yeah, poor old Michael Caine.
Yeah, no, it was a great shame for Michael. But we're focusing on what's going on with the touring cars here. Tom Onslow-Cole now, of course, having to carry some 45 kilos of ballast. How is this Ford going to react? And we know they've got a bit of a braking issue. We started talking about it earlier on, in that with this LPG turbo engine, they don't really get any engine braking, so the brakes are having to work even harder. And I do know that they're getting to a point, particularly behind safety car, where the brake fluid's almost boiling. So they've got to be careful about that.
I mean, I don't quite understand that, because normally behind a safety car you'd get all the cooling you would normally get, but without any of the use and the temperature. But certainly the addition of 45 kilos is going to make a massive difference to that problem that they've got, and it's something they're going to have to work on for the future. You can see some ducts there, bottom of the air intakes, but this is the hardest circuit for braking anywhere. You have the massive braking at Island Hairpin, quickly followed by Knickerbrook Chicane, and then Lodge at the last end of the lap. So there's three big braking points.
Lee Wood will be starting from the pit lane. In the background you see Andrew Jordan. They've made an engine change on that car. His engine let go in the first race. Doesn't look as though he's going to be out. Lee Wood looks okay. Jordan's car's just been dropped back down. The other one who won't be out, I'm afraid, is Paul O'Neill. Again, he's got out in a formation lap and determined that the gear aren't selecting properly, so he's got to come back in the pits. He might be sent out during the race to test it. Cars away on their formation lap now, but Paul O'Neill obviously not starting from the grid, which is where he wants to be starting from. So the car's heading off now, being led once again by Tom Onslow-Cole, who took victory early on. He's in the LPG-powered Ford Focus, of course. Gordon Shedden in the Team Honda Civic is next door to him on the grid. And, well, just have to see how well they get on for this next race in terms of whether carrying the weight is going to make a big difference to them or not. Will the Focus carry the weight comfortably, or will they find it a little bit more difficult?
Yeah, I think the ones to watch here are clearly going to be Plato and Matt Neal, who have lost all of the ballast that they started qualifying in the first race with. So they're going to be on a charge, particularly if Onslow-Cole and Shedden, who had no weight in the first race, are now going to hold everyone up. So that's going to be the interest in this race.
It is indeed. So let's take a look at how they line up. It's Onslow-Cole with 45 kilos on board, Gordon Shedden with 36, then Rob Collard, who was going extremely well in that BMW. He carries 27 kilos of ballast. Matt Jackson's on 18, Tom Chilton's got 9, and then Stephen Kane's the first of the cars not to carry any ballast. Alex McDowell and Matt Neal on row 4, and then look who's right behind Matt Neal on that grid lineup. It is big rival Jason Plato. Top 6 cars now covered by 9 points in the championship, amazingly. Andy Neaton, John George are back on row number 6. And then as we go further down the order, Lee Wood, Martin Depper, Martin Johnson and Arthur Forster, Sean Hollenby and David Pinkney back there on row number 9. And then towards the rear, Andrew Jordan, well, we know he's starting probably from pit lane, Matt Hamilton, Tom Boardman, and again, Paul O'Neill not starting the beginning of this race, but we might see him out there at some point as they try and sort that car out. So everybody now making their way around. There's been a bit more cloud come over since the first race, but no rain as yet, so hopefully it's going to stay dry for this one and there's not going to be any question mark. Actually, Jordan and Lee Wood have joined the back of the grid, so that's good. At least they get to start from the circuit and not from pit lane.
Yeah, and with warmer tyres as well, which is the main thing. That's the safety aspect. Releasing the cars from the pit lane at the start of the race lap, you know, on cold tyres is very dangerous. So they get to do the formation lap and start at the back of the grid with no time penalty. But it is a little cooler here, definitely. That will help the front-wheel drive cars. It may take a little longer for the BMWs to get into their stride. But of course, Matt Neal as well, we're going back to that championship fight. He didn't make a very good start in the last one, spun the wheels up, and Plato, who is a good starter, is right behind him. So we could see action straight away.
And let's watch for Collard, because although BMW have been hit by this high first gear, and it is making it much harder to get the BMWs off the line, he is starting third, and if anybody can get a BMW off the line, it's Rob Collard.
Yeah, I mean, they can still get off the line better than the front-wheel drive cars, but not as well as they did last year. Clearly, the teams and the drivers have worked around this longer first gear, almost like trying to pull away in second gear in your road car, but they've worked around it to find a better way of doing it, and clearly they still have a small advantage, but not as great as last year.
Okay, well, let's see what Rob Collard can do then. He is starting on that second row. He's got Matt Jackson alongside, so you've got 2 BMWs, 2 rear-wheel drive BMWs, starting behind the 2 front-wheel drive cars on the front row, which is the Team A on Focus there of Tom Onslow Cole and Gordon Shedden's Honda. So the second race of the day, all set to go here at a beautiful Oulton Park. Round 11 of the championship. The engine revs begin to rise. Long hold, away we go, and Tom Onslow Cole once again getting that LPG powered car off the line pretty effectively. Gordon Shedden coming across. BMW's not able to get away particularly fast, and Collard slots into third, Jackson into fourth, Chilton into fifth, and it looks as though they're all through. Oh no, spoke too soon. Hollenby goes round, contact with Tom Boardman.
Yeah, hopefully he'll keep that just out of the tyres. He does and continues, but 2 very good starts by the 2 front-wheel drive cars.
One of the Chevys getting a bit sideways there. That was Plato, I think, who's alongside. Plato's on the right as you look at it there. McDowell's on the left, and Plato, I think, is going to get in front of his teammate. Bit of dust being kicked up ahead of them as Tom Onslow. Collard's been spun. He faces the pack in the middle of the hairpin, and he gets hit by Alex McDowell. And, oh, what disaster for a potential winner. Martin Depper's been spun round as well in his BMW.
Well, we've just done the piece about front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, and that was a situation where the rear-wheel drive cars gets tapped from the rear. The driver can only come off the throttle to try and regain grip at the rear and put full lock on, but if it's not enough to save the car, round it goes.
I think the other WSR BMW was in trouble then as well. Let's take another look at this as they came down towards the hairpin. Here's Collard, and he gets hit by Chilton. So there was the contact.
Yeah, I mean, the initial impact was enough to start the pendulum effect. And, I mean, Rob is, once he's got full lock on and no throttle, there's nothing he can do to save that.
So up front, Tom Onslow Cole from Gordon Shedden, then Matt Jackson in third place. There's Tom Chilton hounding him, and Jason Plato's had a great first lap. He's up behind Chilton now, so that's an impressive first lap from Plato, exactly what he wanted. Where's Matt Neal? Well, Matt Neal's several places further back. Plato's in fifth, Matt Neal is in eighth. So Plato's taking advantage on this.
Yeah, certainly at the moment it's advantage Plato, and he looks very racy. The car looks light, he looks up for it. He's going to try and gain as many places as possible. Matt Neal, I think, got caught out because he was only a little bit behind him on the start. He made a better start in the first race, but clearly didn't get through that island kerfuffle as well.
Down to the island hairpin they come again then. This is where Chilton made a bit of contact with Collard. Up front you notice that Tom Onslow Cole's not escaping quickly from Gordon Shedden in second. Jackson here in third, just ahead of Chilton in the second of the Team A on focuses, and there is Onslow Cole now. Just trying to avoid a bit of debris actually there, which he sort of did, and somebody else ran over it. Those carbon fibre shards can be dangerous.
An old trick there is to aim at it and then move out the way at the last minute and hope the car behind you runs over it. But
Shedden's got a puncture. Shedden has got a puncture on that left front, and he's out of second place.
Well, there you go. I don't think he did run over that bit of debris. It might have been something else. It might have been a curb early on the first lap. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A puncture there.
Oh, he's had a puncture in the past as well, Shedden. He's out of luck again, as he was at Thruxton at the early part of the year. Chilton also not sure whether his car's handling right, I gather. He's a bit worried about his own car, but Shedden definitely out of this one. He's trying to get the car to a place of safety, I think.
Well, he's trying to get it back to the pits, but I'm surprised he drove on the grass. He may have thought it was something else and going to be terminal and team. Oh, Plato's looking down the inside.
Couldn't quite pull it off, but it all changes now because Onslow Cole leads, but Jackson in the BMW is now in second, of course, because Shedden has dropped out of that battle. That brings Chilton up to third, Plato into fourth, then Stephen Kane in fifth place, ahead of Matt Neal and James Nash. So what's the other Honda that's still running? That's Matt Neal in the background, and he's beginning to put the pressure on Stephen Kane. Meanwhile, Plato tucked in behind Chilton. Oh, that's clever. He gave him just a little bit of a rub. Has he got the position? It depends on the power here and the focus. I thought it might pull ahead with the LPG, but it hasn't. And the Chevy's gone alongside, and Plato's judged that really well. Oh, and off. Somebody ahead of them. Who was that? That might have been a back marker, actually. As the leaders are coming up behind them, I think. Onslow Cole, yeah, I think it's either Collard or Andy Neat sort of recovering.
Yeah, I think that's recovering Collard because it's definitely a West Surrey racing car from the stripes on the bonnet.
So Plato has got past Chilton. Now that's crucial because he's now up into third position, Plato, and Matt Neal is at the back of this group. So Matt is going to feel the pressure a little bit to move on up as well. Onslow Cole in and Shedden back into the pits. That left front.
No, there isn't a puncture there. No, that's what I thought. I was surprised to see him on the grass because if it had been a puncture, he'd have gone round on the track as gently as possible to get back to the pits, but he pulled onto the grass, which made me think there was something other mechanical, and there was clearly both tyres were okay there.
Right, well, I saw something flapping, that's why I said puncture, but maybe there was something else broken underneath. So look at this, Stephen Kane behind Matt Neal, and Stephen Kane, he's right up in the championship hunt at the moment in terms of points, so he wants to fight with Matt Neal and move up if he can. Qualifying on Saturdays has been a problem for Stephen, but come Sundays he's been scoring consistently.
Yeah, I mean qualifying is a problem anyway for the BMWs because they just don't generate the heat and the grip in their tyres as quickly as the front-wheel drive cars, so they can't take as much benefit out of new tyres. But of course, as soon as the race starts, they're absolutely fine.
No doubt that Matt Neal is under a bit of pressure here. Meanwhile, let's take a little look back at what was going on earlier on. This was the early incident where Collard got spun out. Lucky he didn't get hit by more, really.
Yeah, exactly. And you just saw Plato, though, going all the way around the outside, and that's what gained him those places. This is on board with Neal, going into the hairpin. There's Plato already looking round the outside. Oh!
Hadn't seen that.
No, I think that was Andy Neat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He rode over the top, and I think it's Andy Neat that's running round in this lead pack, actually, looking at the damage.
Oh. That was the... Oh, and then just missed Collard's car there, didn't he? That was so tight. Well, that was all on the first lap. This is now, and it's still up front to Onslow Cole leading. Second place, Matt Jackson. Plato third. You're looking at fourth place, Tom Chilton. So Chilton struggling now a little bit as Matt Neal and then Stephen Kane come through. Behind them is James Nash in the Triple Eight Vauxhall, the black car. Tom Bourman's running in 8th place. Dave Pinkney's up in the top 10. He's into 9th. And it's possible that Martin Johnson's in the top 10. Yeah, he is. That's a good run from Martin Johnson in the Astra Coupe. He's up into 10th place.
Yeah, Jason Plato, fastest lap on the last lap. No surprise there, but he'll be more keen on getting past the cars in front if he can.
So Chilton under pressure from Matt Neal here. Stephen Kane tucked in there as well. Now, how much of this is there going to be? How much rubbing is there going to be as they come up over the hill? Chilton's just got the edge there. Up front, his teammates still controlling this despite carrying maximum ballast. Remember, of the lead group now, Plato is by far the lightest car. Oh, look up there.
That's Andy Neat again going straight on.
Yeah. Let's get some reaction from Gordon Shedden, who's with Louise.
Yeah, as we've just seen, all four tyres on that Honda still in one piece. So what was the problem, Gordon?
Drive shaft broken. So I had a vibration from the start of the race, and it kind of went on the way through Knickerbrook chicane and took a bit of a kind of strange line after that, trying to hang on to it, and yeah, game over from there, I'm afraid.
So something that happened in the first race maybe that's contributed to this?
I don't know. You know, it's I never had any left front contact in the first race. You know, the curves aren't particularly high. I don't know, just, you know, one of those things. I think maybe just the angles and the forces involved.
Bad luck.
Cheers.
Well, disappointing for Gordon Shedden, who's just been a bit out of luck, but this is a huge battle that's going on now for second place between Matt Jackson and Jason Plato.
Yeah, this is one of those circuits where some of the curbs on the exits of the corners are really severe, particularly the curb on the exit of the Knickerbrook chicane. It's really, really serrated there, and you can feel the wheel jumping up. Oh, there's a little bit. That's a typical Plato, little rub going in, car goes wide, he goes through.
Well, bearing in mind what Jackson did to Plato earlier,
mild, wasn't it?
Jackson got penalty points, but he wasn't excluded from the race. I should think Jason thinks, well, that's fair dues.
Yeah, a little bit of what goes round comes around. But yeah, if you can get a look at the exit of this chicane, not this corner, not this curb, but on the exit just there, that curb is really severe, and obviously it puts a massive load through the whole drive system, the drive train, the differential, the drive shafts and the uprights, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's contributed to that failure.
So the question now has to be, can Plato win this race? He's worked his way up gradually, he's picked them off, he's now up into second place chasing the LPG powered car. Meanwhile, just taking a little look back from Tom Chilton at Matt Neal, and this was down the inside. This is happening right now. So he did have a go. Has he got past? Yes, I think he has. So he's squeezed past. Matt Neal has taken the place.
Stephen Gade's going to go through as well.
Yeah, Stephen Gade's going to take advantage as they come down into Old Hall Corner. Matt and Tom Chilton can't do anything about that, and he's going to have to be careful because James Nash is breathing down his neck, although there is a yellow flag up on that area.
Yeah, there could be some question mark as to whether the yellow flags were out there, whether they were out before Old Hall Hairpin or just afterwards, I don't know, we didn't see, but certainly be looked at. But a Matt Neal typical pass up the inside into Lodge, a favourite overtaking place. But in answer to your question, there's a long way to go, and I see no reason why Plato can't win this race.
Well, he's lapping quickly. Last time around, Onslow Cole was only a tenth slower than Jason Plato. There's not much in it, but there's still some time to go. We're only halfway through this race, not even that. So good opportunity here for Plato, who desperately wants to recover. That Brands Hatch event was a total disaster, really, from his point of view. It was a crank sensor that failed in both race 2 and race 3, and well, they reckon they've solved the problem, but it's never happened on any of the other Chevys running in World Touring cars or anything.
Yeah, I did actually get to the bottom of it. It was an interesting thing. Jason was telling me that he likes to really slip the clutch on the warm-up laps and get a lot of heat into the clutch because it's a carbon clutch, and when they're cold, it's almost like a trigger on and off, but when they're very hot, there's more graduation and modulation and feel in the clutch pedal, and he was getting so much heat into the clutch that it was actually burning the crank sensor and causing the crank sensor to fail. So what they've done is they put some additional cooling just on the crank sensor to save that. So interesting little answer there.
It is, yeah, and how do you predict that as a race team? It's such a difficult thing to know until it happens.
Yeah, and that's why it hadn't happened on any other car. It was a particular driving trait that Jason had, but you wouldn't assume that that was going to relate to that failure.
Oh, incredible, because it happened both races.
Good
anyway.
exit there from Cascades. His car's looking very good.
He is attacking already, isn't he? And we've still got plenty of time in this race. But Onslow Cole will put up a pretty spirited defence earlier. Look how deep Plato goes. He did that earlier, then cuts back, looks for the exit. For the LPG-powered car is quick up the hill and accelerates away, and Plato has to tuck in behind him once again.
Yeah, I mean, we're only on lap 8, but you can already see the difference in braking ability there. I mean, Onslow Cole, with the additional weight, the worry over brakes, lack of engine braking, he's already struggling to stop that car, and Jason in a light car with good brakes, he's going to have him for breakfast if he gets a chance to slip down the inside anywhere.
Yeah, it's getting alongside, and particularly, as you say, down the inside. It's tricky here at Oulton Park because it's a relatively easy place to defend, but we have seen people do it, so let's see what happens. Through the double right-hander, under the trees at Druids. The circuit looking magnificent here today. Thousands of people here, as ever at Oulton Park. It's always a massively enthusiastic crowd, and they're really lapping this up. The youngster, Tom Onslow Cole, up against the veteran, Jason Plato, the man who's looking for his second British Touring Car title after being runner-up numerous times. But it's just that one title, 2001. Can he take Chevrolet to the championship. Well, he's just trying to bide his time and find the right place at the moment.
Yeah, he was actually fast, set the fastest lap, not on that lap, but on the lap before. He was catching up to Onslow Cole. Some dust in the background. Is that Matt Neal passing Jackson? Yes, it is.
So he's got up to third. The Honda of Matt Neal, the other major championship contender here at the moment, has moved up to third place. Here comes Plato down the outside. Surely there's no way around there, but again he tries the cut back on the exit. And Onslow Cole clever about positioning the car once more, but having to go ever so defensive here.
Yeah, I mean, the best place for Jason to overtake is definitely a lunge up the inside into Lodge, the final corner, because clearly Chilton's going to, Onslow Cole, sorry, is going to defend very hard into Island. Has got just enough pace to hold him off before they get to Knickerbrook.
Just touched the tyres on the way into the Knickerbrook there, just a little bit of tyre mark on the bumper. There's no problems other than that for Plato as he continues to chase in second place. We're on lap 9 out of 15. Onslow Cole looking for 2 out of 2 here today in the Ford Focus. His teammate, by the way, Tom Chilton's dropped back to 6th place. We saw him struggling a little bit. He just doesn't seem to have quite got it together this weekend. Seems to have been suffering some problems there. We're looking at Matt Neal there in 3rd place. Jackson is in 4th place. And then Stephen Kane is a little further down behind those two. Plato again getting nice and close to the back of the leading Ford as they cross the line. Onto lap 10 out of 15 now. And he starts to think about setting it up already for perhaps another lunge at the hairpin.
Yeah, I mean, Plato will be he's happy enough at the moment. This was Neal passing Jackson, and he seems to have good pace through there. Does Jackson run wide? Yes, he does. You saw the car twitch mid-corner. He just got into a slide, had to correct it, ran out wide, an easy pass then for,
little bit of a roll. Damage done.
Damage done there to the front of Plato's car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's shifted the bonnet, damaged the front headlight. So that was quite a knock there. It didn't look as though it was that heavy, but it obviously was. And he's taken the lead. Plato has taken the lead from Onslow Cole after a shove down at the hairpin. And Onslow Cole now back in second. He'll be coming under threat from Matt Neal.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason that happened was because Plato knew he couldn't pass. He couldn't find a way past anywhere else. And Matt Neal was catching them up very quickly because Onslow Cole was defending so hard. So he took matters into his own hand and forced a pass, if you like. But has he damaged that car, badly? He may have actually done too much damage to it.
Well, there's always a trouble of overheating, isn't there, if you've done any damage to the front end, and it's just shifted the grille and the front bumper a little bit, bent the bonnet, as you can see. So we'll see whether he's going to be able to continue on his way. Still a few laps to go here, and look how Matt Neal now is closing up for second place. Let's take another look as they cross the line. The gap between Onslow Cole and Matt Neal was only a few tenths of a second, as you can see, and heading down towards Cascades now. I wonder if he's going to do anything. Let's take another look at how Jason Plato managed to squeeze past here. This was already coming down to Knickerbrook, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's already done the dirty deed, if you like. But I understand there is some rain down there at Island, so maybe that's affecting their braking ability down there.
Matt Neal into second place. Matt Neal has taken second place. You can just see evidence of a little bit of rain on that camera down there as well. But Matt has moved up to second. There could be a bit of dampness on this next section at Knickerbrook as well, and that could make life pretty tricky here. Matt Neal into second. Onslow Cole pushed back to third. Matt Jackson still in fourth. Stephen Kane in fifth. Tom Chilton is sixth. James Nash seventh. Tom Borman is 8th, then Dave Pinkney 9th, and Lee Wood has moved up into 10th position now, and Martin Johnson's dropped back. He was in 10th earlier, he's now down in 14th place.
Yeah, 4 laps to go at the end of this one, so we'll see if Matt Neal can close up. We know how good he is in damp conditions, and if it is spitting down there a little bit, that might just be a little bit of an incentive. And look, we saw the wipers going on Plato's car, so it is obviously spitting.
Yeah, that's right. First time we've seen that, but it's let's see what the lap time's like as they come around this time. Did a 28.8 last time, just about across the line here. 28.8 again, so not losing too much performance yet.
Not at the moment. Clearly nothing wrong with the car, but Onslow Cole made it very easy for Matt Neal to get through there at the hairpin, and having defended all the time against Plato, so I guess he felt that maybe it was better to let him through and try and hold on to third place than defend massively and let Jackson catch up.
Sliding through on the exit of Cascades there, Jason Plato, but he's got a useful little margin over Matt Neal at the moment. It was just under a second when they came across the line. There again, you can see the evidence of a little bit of rain. And Lee Wood, by the way, has got up to 10th place. Remember, he started from the back of the grid, and because he had a problem. And Lee Wood, the privateer, where is he? We'll try and catch him. There he is, the middle car there with the orange flashes, the white car predominantly. That is Lee Wood. This is only his second ever British touring car event. He's a very likeable character, very down to earth, and he's lapping this up, doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and he's someone, having grown up on the ovals, that's going to love a bit of damp out there and a bit of sliding about, isn't he? But he's going well. And you probably saw in the background there, you saw Paul O'Neill driving round. So clearly, as we suggest, they're using this race as a test session to make sure that gearbox is fine. But look, a lot of wipers going on there on Plato's car.
Yeah, he switches them off as he comes up towards Lodge, but there's definitely evidence of a bit more rain around. Still holding third, Tom Onslow-Cole, as they cross the line this time. That's 12 laps completed, and we go on to lap 13 of 15. Another 1:28.8 though, so again the lap times are pretty consistent.
I mean, normally as a driver you switch the wipers on when you go past the pit. Oh, very wide there from Matt Neal. That'll dirty his tyres, but yeah, normally you turn the wipers on if it's conditions like this when you go past the pit. That was O'Neill into the back of Wood, I think. Yeah, O'Neill into the back of Wood. Well, that was unnecessary.
It's John George. They are battling for position. They are battling for 10th. That's John George. He ran into the back of Wood, and look at the damage it's done to him.
Yeah, apologies. Yeah, it was. You're absolutely right. I thought it was Paul O'Neill, but it was.
Oh, they're still at it. Look at these two with David Pinkney. It's Pinkney that he ended up hitting, and Pinkney probably thinks that Lee Wood hit him, whereas actually he was pushed into him.
Yeah, well, I'd be careful, Lee, because David's got a lot more money than you, so he might be a bit harder to get past now. But yeah, unfortunate incident that.
So this is for 9th, 10th, 11th places. Dave Pinkney is in 9th. And then Lee Wood, they're still in 10th, but there's a fair bit of damage to that car now.
Yeah, the bonnet is flapping a little bit. I hope that bonnet doesn't come up and wrap itself. Oh, I can hear it misfiring. It's obviously done something to the inlet or the exhaust system on that car. I can hear it misfiring there, but...
Well, Dave Pinkney's in the points, which will keep him happy, but will he stay there? That's the question. Behind them, by the way, Alex McDowell in the Chevy that got damaged in his contact when he ran into Rob Collard earlier on. It's almost the same damage as the front of Plato's car. We've got a lot of damage in this one.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And it didn't look like a big hit, but it certainly collapsed the front of that car.
Yeah. Lee Wood maintaining his pace at the moment. Still sitting there in 10th place, looking to get points again. In the background, McDowell's trying to get past John George. That is for position. That is for 11th place here from Alex McDowell. And the bumper flapping away as well. And there's tyre smoke coming off John George's car.
Yeah, well, it's a good job they've got a little while to go before the next race, because the panel beaters and the parts people will be busy in the pits after this one.
Is that tyre smoke or is that steam? Tyres, I think. Well, I'm not sure.
No, I think that's come out the engine bay. That's definitely steam.
Oh.
Yeah, hoses let go. He needs to park that straight away.
Otherwise, it could be very expensive.
Yeah. Park it, John. Park it.
He's not listening to you.
No, he's not, is he? But the team have got radios. They'll tell him to park it anyway.
Yeah, you can get out of the way down here. Yeah,
now he's found a safe place to park.
Oh, well, that's disappointing for John George. He had a chance perhaps of getting in the points there, but that little incident where he ran into the back of Lee Wood, who then ran into the back of Dave Pinkney, has certainly changed things. Now, Plato is still leading this race. Matt Neal is in 2nd place, and when they come around this time, they'll be going on to their final lap. So Matt Neal tucked in there still, sliding a bit. You can see it was a bit slippery that time.
Yeah, the thing I was trying to say about the wipers is you normally turn them on as you go past the pit lane, so that the team know that you're struggling out there with a bit of rain, and that's why your lap times are off.
Well, amazingly, despite the damage on Plato's car, that car seems to be okay, unlike this one of John George. And those guys, the Tech Speed team, having a pretty busy time of it, trying to sort out the gear selection problems on Paul O'Neill's car and trying to prepare the bodywork for that one for race number 3 later on. Plato, though, looking good for victory here, and that will certainly boost his championship hopes, but ironically, of course, it is his big rival, Matt Neal, who's going to finish 2nd to him. So not really going to gain the advantage that he was looking for.
No, well, I did predict these two at the start would come through, and they have done, slightly different fashions, and Plato was very quick at the start. Matt Neal took his time and almost let Plato open the door for him on the way through, and no surprise to see these two championship protagonists with no weight on board going through to the front.
Matt Neal had taken the lead by 2 points after race 1 here today, but Plato will, I think, just regain the lead. He's also got the point for fastest lap here, so this will put Jason back in front. But remember, the third race of the day will be on a reverse grid, so Matt Neal will actually start ahead of Jason Plato on that reverse grid, and Plato will have to carry the most ballast. But bearing in mind that Jason Plato had to do some work in this race, starting from further down the grid. He started off 10th place on the grid, and this has been a mighty drive by Jason Plato, a physical drive. He's got damage on the car, but he takes victory. His 6th career win at Oulton Park, his 55th career win. Matt Neal finishes in 2nd place, and also Cole takes 3rd, and Chilton there. Chilton just crossing the line in 6th place ahead of James Nash. He had a battle right to the flag there, Tom Chilton. But just to fill in the gaps, Matt Jackson finished in 4th, and Stephen Kane finished in 5th place.
Yes, and behind Nash in 8th, 9th and 10th we go Boardman, Pinckney and McDowell. So,
oh yeah, just still coming through actually. This is the battle for 9th place. McDowell might take 9th on the line. Is he going to do it? He crossed the line, and yes, he did do it.
Yeah.
McDowell takes 9th, Pinckney takes 10th, Lee Wood just outside the points in the end after a great drive in 11th place. But McDowell at least getting something out of it.
Yeah, and of course in with a chance of potentially being on the front with a reverse grid, but we'll have to wait and see how many are reversed for race 3.
So Jason Plato, another victory to add to his tally. That's his 2nd win of 2010, and as I mentioned, his 55th career win. He's now 5 away from the all-time record of Andy Rouse. So great chance this year, surely, to actually match or perhaps beat that record. We'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. But 7/10 the advantage in the end over Matt Neal, and he will have also taken the championship lead.
Yeah, as I always say though, remember when Matt Neal was racing very often, there were only 12 races in the year, and in the championship season now, of course, there are 30. Which is why my 16 wins are so brilliant.
Of course, Tim. But you've got a chance of matching Richard Westbrook this weekend. I was looking at the notes earlier. Yeah, you could set some records yourself. But there is Matt Neal, and I think he'll be pretty satisfied with that, won't he?
Yeah, very happy. Yeah, got through. I mean, okay, Jason won the race, but he started in front of him, and you know, the important thing was to get through to the front and then hope for a good grid stop for the last race.
Yeah, and he could still easily, depending on what happens in race 3, he could still emerge as championship leader at the end of today, even though he's just lost it by a point or two to Jason Plato. And let's not forget that good effort by Tom Onslow Cole, led the early stages, carrying maximum ballast, and they've got to prove to themselves, the Team Aon guys, that they can carry the ballast and still perform, and they've done it there.
Yeah, I mean, he was struggling, but he was struggling against lighter, faster cars, so no disrespect there, no disgrace rather, but yeah, I mean, he's had a 3rd place. It's very good to go with his win.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at the result. The result of race 2, Jason Plato taking the victory by 3/4 of a second over Matt Neal. Tom Onslow Cole in 3rd, and then Matt Jackson and Stephen Kane in the 2 Airwaves BMWs. Tom Chilton finished 6th ahead of James Nash and Tom Boardman, with Alex McDowell just taking 9th from Dave Pinckney on the line. Outside the points, we saw Lee Wood and we saw Hamilton, but this is what it's done in terms of the points. Jason Plato now leads the championship by just 3 from great rival Matt Neal. Tom Onslow Cole in 3rd place, so tied on 70 points there with Stephen Kane, and only 1 point behind them is Matt Jackson. So a lot of changes still could happen here in race 3 today. We've got Gordon Shedden, who was so unlucky in that race, picking up a drive shaft failure. Paul O'Neill's dropping down the order with his various problems, and Collard, Chilton and Giovanardi still in the top 10.
That was described as a mighty drive by Ben Edwards. I'm sure you'd agree with him.
I was a little bit luckier down at the hairpin. I chose the wide line and it kind of all opened up for me. And I think I got about 5 or 6 places there, but you can never predict that, so that's just a little bit of luck, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we had some pace there. I mean, the boys had a big job because we had a clutch, guys. We had to change a clutch, all the master cylinders, everything. We only just got out. So I'm pleased with that. I mean, I had a good race, but we've got no weight on now, and that Ford Focus has got 45 kilos on, and it's just away down the straight. It's like a lunatic. It must be the weather.
Must be the weather. You say the boys had a bit of work to do before that race. They got a bit more work to do after that race as well, haven't they? You kind of muscled your way through there.
You've got to, you know, you've got Tomo so cold as lifting off down the straight to force me one way. I'm not having that, you know. I either race or don't, and if you're not going to race, then be prepared to get some at the backside. Robin's racing.
Were you conscious of the fact as well that you had Matt Neal coming up close behind you and really needed to get past Tom?
Absolutely, you know, I know that, you know, both myself and Matt haven't had that good a day today. He's had a slightly better day than me, but I knew, you know, he wants to get as many points on the bag as possible, and likewise me. You know, we've got some ground to make up, and you know, we're not here to play games. We're here to try and win. And at the minute, I'm not quick enough in the straight, so we need to work on that.
Well, winning's what you were doing in that race, so well done on that. Let's grab a word with that second place finisher, Matt Neal, as well. Great result for you in terms of the championship as well.
Yeah, great. I mean, I can't say I was too pleased when I saw him come around the outside at the hairpin. Went around the high wall, as they say, I think, isn't it? Then it was just trying to make the best of the traffic, and then the rain started to come with about 4 or 5 laps to go. And I thought, that's all right. Let's just Jason. I was just watching him, or hoping he'd slide or, you know, run into a bit more water than we had the lap before. But then I started sliding. I thought, well, I don't know, it's such a good idea after all. And I was counting the laps down a bit. But I wanted to try and push him hard to the flag, see if he could get any mistake. But he's too old and sensible for that, isn't he?
Difficult to get that balance, I guess, because as you say, you've got to push, but at the same time, you've got to be careful that you're not going off the track.
Yeah, I mean, you want results, don't you? And we both had a tough first race, and so we wanted a solid points finish in the first one, but it would have been nice to get a win. But Tom was pretty gentle with me that time. Thank you, mate.
That was a nice move. Unlike Mr. Plato, that was cheeky.
I didn't see it. I was blinking at that point. Well, you're young, aren't you?
Is that it?
Yeah.
It's been taken to school.
Playground.
Yeah, well, exactly. But no, a great race, good fun.
Just tell us about that move that JP pulled on you then.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a move. It's just a crash. But I was sort of hoping maybe his radiator would have punctured or anything like that, and just desserts. But no, never mind. It's touring cars, and it's one of those things. Contact is not part of it, but hard racing is, and that's what's happened. I'm pleased to be back on the podium, third with the weight, so it's good.
2 races on the podium, well done for that. And it's time now to find out where both these guys are going to be starting in the third and final race of the day. Let's go over to Steve to make the draw for the reverse grid.
Yeah, getting near the time to shuffle the grid. Let's do it with the help of Paul O'Neill, who must be one of the most disappointed drivers around here today, failing to get out for the first 2 races because of gearbox problems. But watching from the sidelines, what was your view of Jason's move on Tom?
Yeah, I can see Jason's frustration, you know, when you've got a car with weight in front of you. You know, you're trying to get past it is difficult, but, you know, if it was deliberate, then I wouldn't be happy with it myself. But, you know, that's the way you race. And, you know, Jason's been around for a long time and people have probably done it to him. He does it to people. It's the nature of touring cars, but I wouldn't be happy, but it wasn't me, so I'm not bothered.
Nothing compared to your frustration today, I'm sure. How close were you to getting out in that second race?
Yeah, we went out there, but we had exactly the same gearbox drama. Got something happening in the car, in the barrel of the gearbox that selects the gear, and it's going down into 4th instead of 5th. So, you know, disappointment, home circuit and all that, but that's just the way it goes, you know. Hopefully we'll get out for this third race, and if it rains, you never know, you could win. So, you know, Absolutely. We just go and do what we can. That's the way it is.
I'm sure it's a huge consolation to you that we're asking you to reshuffle the grid for the third race. Let's just remind everyone of exactly what happens. We've got the names of the drivers here who finished 6 through 10. So there you see Tom Chilton, James Nash, Tom Boardman, Alex McDowell and Dave Pinkney. And Paul, you're going to draw one number and promote someone to pole position, and the rest will fall in behind. There we go. Take them all. They're all going to go on the floor. There you go. Oh, right. Number 9. Good job. Alex McDowell goes on to pole position, and there's a decent reshuffle at the front of the grid, and we will confirm all the details on that new look grid in just a few minutes' time. You've got hopes of getting out for it, though.
I have, yeah. I just want to say good luck, Alex McDowell. You know, I hope he wins it. He's a good lad, and as he said on Facebook, you know, if there's a gherkin in his burger, he's going to take you out.
He's got a great chance. You've given him a great chance. Paul, all the best. We'll be back in a few minutes with confirmation of that grid and the Ginetta G50s as well.